Hello and welcome to Libra season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and multidimensional human who, like you, is on a journey through this crazy thing we call life here on planet Earth. These days, as I'm sure you've noticed, life on Earth is complex, chaotic, confusing, terrifying, and deeply heartbreaking, yet also still full of beauty and saturated by the mysterious substances of sentient potentiality. In many ways, these times are to be expected, given the histories and cycles that they're emerging within. In the ongoing evolution of human consciousness, navigating times of crisis has always been our necessity. Throughout history, we humans have had to reckon with creative and destructive potentials, and the ways in which we can make meaning and grow through experiences of tragedy and pain. Over the ages, one of our most important evolutionary guides and allies in meaning making has been astrology. Astrology is expansive, and the type that I practice, which is called tropical astrology, is just one of its many forms. Different forms of astrology exist and have existed on every part of the globe, and new forms and variations are still being created. At its most fundamental level, astrology is an orientation of attunement with the cycles and seasons of the cosmos, and a practice of listening and communing with the most important planet of all, which is the one we're part of, Earth. If you, like me, are interested in how you can live into the fullest potential of your lifetime, in service to the life and lives yours is interwoven with here on Earth, I want to invite you to join me next month for an in-person on-land retreat, where we'll explore how embodying astrology can help us attune with our intuition, open our imaginations, and show up for our journeys with inspiration, presence, and purpose. October 24th through 27th at the Eco-Dharma Center in the Rocky Mountains, I'll be joined by my colleagues Ramon and Michelle Gabrieloff-Parrish for a deep dive into experiential astrology. During this 4-day residential retreat, we'll engage with charts, signs, and symbolism. We'll spend time outside, connecting with our physical presence, somatic intelligence, and psychic process, in communion with the land and sky. We'll experiment with the potential of astrology to elaborate systems thinking, expand mind-body coherence, and assist us in cultivating perspectives on how our individual inheritances and personal potentials can help us all meet the historic moment we're in as change agents, healers, and visionaries. If this sounds like the place you want to be, I hope you'll join us. Learn more about the Body of Stars retreat by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting embodiedastrology.com, where you can find more information from the drop-down menu in the study section. Last but not least, before we get to your sign-specific horoscopes, I do want to remind you that these readings are somewhat personal explorations of larger collective symbols. Take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's meaningful for you. For a broader focus on the astrology of current events and a collective reading, make sure to listen to my Libra season overview, available on YouTube or wherever you stream your podcasts. Hello Virgo, welcome to Libra season. As I open up to your chart and what wants to come through with this reading, I am going to invite information that can serve you in your head, your heart, and your body. And we're going to also be inviting Libra keywords and themes to inspire this reading. And the words and themes that I'm calling in have to do with beauty, love, and balance. With beauty and love, we definitely have states of balance and imbalance coming up as major themes. What is beautiful is always in contrast to what is not beautiful. The experience of love is always in contrast to the experiences of the other kinds of feelings that we might have in relationship. And the state of balance that we are looking for right now is a state of sensitivity and awareness of imbalance. And that actually helps us to find balance more than trying to focus in and grab on some kind of forever state of stasis or something like that, which is not even possible in the universe. All balance is cyclical and spiralic. And so there really is a sense here of needing to know your extremes in order to find your balance. Okay, so we're coming out of Virgo season, and regardless of whether you are Virgo sun, Virgo rising, Virgo moon, or other Virgo identifications, Virgo season was a lot. There was a lot that was happening, including a series of eclipses beginning in Virgo season and also your polar opposite sign and season Pisces. There was also the tail end of a Mercury retrograde that we are working with that went through Virgo and your preceding sign Leo. So as we move into Libra season, the feeling for me is that a lot is moving around for you internally. And as I opened your chart, the immediate feeling that I got was, who am I now? And there's this feeling of like, you're changing and you're changing rapidly and you know that you're different, but also you're in it. And who are you now? Because the the clothes you used to wear just don't fit you anymore, right? Like they might physically fit you, but when you wear them, you just feel like they're not representative of who you want to be. And that's a metaphor, but it could also actually feel that way for you with your wardrobe right now. So take what works and leave the rest. But the feeling here is I need new clothes. Like I need to express myself differently. I am a different person. And who is that person? Libra season is definitely a period of time when a lot of you are getting to know yourself again and getting to know this updated version of who you're becoming. So the big themes and the feelings that I have for you is that this is a period of time of investigation. And I would love to invite you throughout Libra season to ask yourself a very simple question. And the question is, what do I want? What do I need? Variations of that question could also be really helpful. Like, what am I hungry for? What do I want to wear? What do I find attractive? I feel that many of you are really in a state right now of needing to update your preferences. And so this theme of beauty also comes in the space of the head and the mind, how our minds become really shaped by society, by our families, by our cultures, certainly by personal experiences and experiences of punishment as well as reward. And what we think our values are, what our preferences are, what our tastes are, is really up for debate, you know? And you might consider hypothetical, impossible questions like, what kind of preferences would you have had you been born in the exact same moment in time on the other side of the world? How would you want to dress, you know, if you were this age now instead of that age? Like, give yourself hypothetical impossibles just to illuminate how your personal preferences have been shaped by the materiality of your life, by the time and the place and the context, and let that awareness open up space and permission for you to play with the imagination and the ideas that your preferences could be totally different. And there are all kinds of people doing all kinds of things, wearing all kinds of clothes, eating all kinds of food, living all kinds of ways, and it works for them, right? I'm sure they have their own problems, but diversity is here and it's an opportunity. And you too can diversify. And so it feels to me right now that you want to really check in with, what do you like? What do you want? What are you compelled by? What are you attracted to? And let the shifting nature of your attractions inform then what you're giving investment towards. How are you spending your money, your time, your attention? What you put your attention towards will grow. If you think that this new area of possibility is suddenly way more attractive than that old area of possibility, then the more you put attention into it, the more you're going to cultivate these kinds of possibilities in your life. And I think that you know that, or I know that you know that,
And what I want to remind you of is that your life is creative. You are creating your life, and you are not stuck in it impenetrably, impermeably, and indefinitely. Like, you can change. And as you notice how your preferences and how your tastes are changing, allow yourself to rebalance. Allow yourself to let go of what you just don't want or need or enjoy so much now. This could have a remarkable impact, as I'm sure you can imagine, on your relationships. Because this second area of focus in our hearts and this theme of love has everything to do with attractions and aversions. The kinds of people that we're attracted to and the styles of relating that we think that we enjoy or that we think that we need have everything to do with what we are attracted to and what we are repelled by. Some people are totally attracted to niceness, right? And oh, we're never going to have a problem and everything is always copacetic. And then at some point in their life, they might realize, like, oh, conflict isn't always a problem. Sometimes it's really necessary. And in the updating of their preferences, they might feel like, I'm not so conflict averse anymore. And actually, I'm kind of attracted to what could happen if people are honest, if they meet conflict as a site of transformative potential. And so then as that preference change, guess what? You can imagine the relationships are going to change. Communication is going to change, etc. So this is a period of time that you are also really needing to open to your relationships shifting and changing. And I'll say that this needs patience from you, because relationships, particularly the long-term relationships that you have been built slowly over time, and probably a lot of them have been built very much with the materials of your seasons past of preferences, attractions, etc. And as your tastes are shifting and you want to be relating in different ways, it's going to take some time for your relationships also to get updated. And I think that some of you are really feeling the need for new and different kinds of relationships right now. Particularly, I'm feeling this in the realm of friendships, social organizations, and kind of your larger environment where you can feel yourself growing into the future. And there's a feeling here of who's around you. What are they compelling from you? And what opportunities and possibilities are there for growth and evolution inside of these relational spaces? Now, again, please be patient. This is going to take some time to change. There's also a process of evolution and maturation that you're going through with your preferences and your tastes and how you want to be all shifting around. Between now and I'm going to say the first 5 months or so of next year, a lot of things are shifting. And in this shift, you are needing to really take time to do some deep internal reorganizing around what it is that actually motivates you, what it is that you actually want. Like, the sense of desire, I think needs to take some time to get reworked in your internal consciousness. Something's also coming up for me about the nature of Virgo sometimes that can be very oriented towards service, and service is sometimes very oriented towards self-sacrifice and a kind of well, this is just the way that it was written and these are the rules and this is how I have to be, a kind of sense of duty or obligation. And that can be a whole mind state, right? Like, that can be a whole psychological body state. And so as your preferences and attractions are shifting, there might be an accompanying psychological process that's happening for you where you basically have to allow yourself to want things. And you basically have to allow yourself to want things that are different than what you used to want. And if these desires or preferences that are coming up for you seem to be counter to the ways that you may have identified your roles in your relationships, or your duties or your responsibilities, or what makes you a quote unquote good person or something like that, there might be a kind of process for you that really has to be very deeply internal for a while, or maybe only shared with trusted confidants and friends or therapists or something like that, that can help you build comfort, familiarity, and empowerment with these desires so that you can put them into action. So again, I really want to encourage you to be patient with the process. To not feel somehow disturbed that, it's like, oh my God, my life doesn't fit me and I want these things that I don't have, or I want to be someone that I'm not, or something like that. But to just recognize that you're in a state of profound change, and that as you clearly identify how you're changing and how you want to be changing, you will make incremental actions towards that shift. But you have to own it for yourself. You have to be willing to admit it and to communicate about it, at least internally, in order to see those changes manifest externally. This means that there is a shuffling of your energy, or resorting of your energy. And again, this timeline of, I'm going to say the next 6 months or so, where I think a lot of you are just, you're going through the motions of your life. You're doing the things probably that you need to do, but a lot is changing, and a lot of you want to be putting new patterns in place. And so this is necessarily then a period of time that is about research and readying. There has to be some kind of titration of like moving forward into the new thing and then going back so that you can clean up, clear up, reorient, so that then you can move forward, and then going back and forth a little bit like that for a while. Please, again, patience is key right now, while you also continue to deepen your awareness. And when it comes to this theme of balance, one thing that can really help you, I think, is to hold it in context. So remember that incremental actions build into large movements over time. If you're really ready for some new kind of feeling, start small and take the steps that you can today in that direction, but don't get frustrated that you haven't reached the end goal today, because that will impede your process tomorrow. The frustration will become its own kind of blockage. Take small steps in the direction that you're trying to move, and notice the steps as you're taking them. Give yourself affirmation every single time you take one of those steps, even if it's a tiny, tiny, tiny one. And if you have to go backwards in order to go forwards, appreciate yourself for that as well, because that takes discernment, skill, and maturity.
Hey there. I'll be back in just a minute with the rest of your Libra season horoscope, but I wanted to let you know that if you're enjoying this reading and it's resonating for you, the best way to integrate and bring astrology's best potentials into your life is to put them into practice. At Embodied Astrology, that's exactly the kind of thing we do. Every month and throughout the seasons, we offer opportunities to engage the creative, experimental, and experiential aspects of current astrology. This season, I hope you'll join me for Somatic Space, which is a class I offer every Monday, where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle, healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. Over the weekend of October 12th and 13th, we also have 2 wonderful workshops with our faculty members, Gabs and Junata. On Saturday, October 12th, Gabs 404 will be joined by a special guest, the astrologer and time researcher Christopher Burrick, in the Nebula Lab, where they'll deep dive into time as a substance and explore the many ways that time has been measured, expanded, stretched, and played with, and how we can work with time across time through the cyclical symbolism of the outer planets. The next day, Sunday, October 13th, Junata Petrus returns for the Aries full moon edition of her monthly Artistic Alchemy series. In these sessions, Junata brings us into the textural, sensual encounters with the solar-lunar axis and full moon vibes by sharing playlists, artist practices, and personal prompts that help us uncover and expand our personal creative practices and life as artistry. These events are all offered on Zoom and available by recording if you can't attend live. Our offerings also change with each season and are always curated to meet the moment. To find out more, check the upcoming events in our show notes or click Study from the drop-down menu at embodiedastrology.com.
There's a full moon coming up in Aries on October 17th. This is a full moon that is really bringing a lot of heat and a lot of charge into your psyche and kind of subconscious space. And so again, there is this feeling of a kind of compressing or condensing and an internalizing of your awareness that you are changing and that this change is going to lead towards new growth. This is a full moon that might have some of you feeling kind of explosive, particularly if it feels like the circumstances of your life are confining and you're really ready for change or something like that. It could feel like you're just ready to bust out around this full moon. I do want to say that this is a helpful full moon for you to push out and grow with your own energy. This is a period of time that definitely can help you move in these directions that you're wanting to go or wanting to grow, and to move incrementally as well as in larger steps. For a lot of people around this full moon, I've been urging temperance and a kind of like, let's not be too extreme about it. And considering that we are working with Libra, I definitely want to encourage you to notice your own capacity for extremity. With your chart, Virgo, I feel like you actually have, in some ways, like the best chart I've worked with yet for this particular full moon to have a positive outcome, particularly when you use this kind of force that's coming up to make change in future directions. And if you're noticing that you have like psychological blockages to where you're trying to grow, then this is a full moon that can help you like break through those blockages. Self-doubts, insecurities, negative self-talk, and internalized self-hatred. This is an amazing full moon for you to like do purification rituals to allow yourself to feel angry and a sense of like personal protectiveness and like banish those energies or something like that. Have some kind of burning ritual or whatever floats your boat. When it comes to situations with other people, I will encourage you to practice some temperance, because your communication is intensifying around this time. And all the Virgo placements I know can say a thing in kind of a sharp way if they feel pressed about it. And I feel like you just want to be clear why you're communicating what you're communicating. It may be that you need to communicate a thing and that something does really need to be known. It needs to be shared and expressed. It may also be that you would benefit from taking a walk around the block or 10 deep breaths, or maybe 2 weeks to pause, reflect, and, wait for a moment where you feel like more calm and grounded to be able to express what you want to express. I don't want to encourage you, however, to compartmentalize or avoid or put something away. So if you notice that you have a lot of reactivity or a lot of force coming up and you just really need to say a thing, but you're noticing like, wow, I might be kind of imbalanced right now. I do feel really reactive. Write it down. Get it out of yourself so that you can process it, express it, and remember it later, but then take a break so that you can process and express in ways that your future self will thank you for. Sometimes things just happen and it just has to be out there and you just got to say the thing. And that might be the propulsion that you need to send you into this new direction. So this definitely is a season to tune in with the ways that we get balanced and imbalanced. And I do want to say that sometimes balance or our perception of balance can have its own imbalances and sense of stagnancy. This comes up a lot with fear of change and having some kind of sense of comfort or familiarity with what your normal is, where it's like, well, things are kind of balanced now, you know, it's like, okay, it's not bad. But then there's really a feeling of wanting to grow, do something different. And the fear of the imbalance of this new step, of this different direction, might be an impediment. And so I do want to encourage folks to tune in with the imbalance of balance, right? Like sometimes balance is its own stagnancy, and we have to let go of what's familiar and what's comfortable in order to move towards what's next. Okay, Virgo, so in summary, what I want to say is that this feels like an important period of time for you to be tuning in with your attractions. What do you want? What do you enjoy? What do you like? What turns you on? What brings a sparkle to your eye? What brings the corners of your mouth upwards? Get deep about it. Don't ask yourself this question on a superficial levels only. Ask yourself this question on deep levels also. What do you really want? Time is passing swiftly. You know, all of our lives are passing swiftly. There's a Zen prayer out there that goes something like, don't squander your life, right? Time passes swiftly. So what do you really want? And what then are you going to invest in experiencing that desire coming to fruition? Again, be deep about it. Ask yourself the deepest questions you can about these desires. How does the thing that you want make you feel in your body? Why do you want this feeling in your body? If you have that feeling in your body, what is it then going to do in your life? What is it going to do in your relationships, etc.? Be complex about it. Oh, you want this thing? What are the implications then in the ripple out effect? If you have this thing, then what changes? Give yourself the time to really marinate with it, reflect on it, work it internally, but don't stagnate. If you know that you are ready for some new direction, and I think a lot of you are, address the psychological blockages that are also maybe manifesting that would keep you from moving in that direction. And to me, those blockages feel like some version of a message that you can't have what you want because of probably something to do with other people. And people may be alive or dead. They may be people who you know or people who you've never met. I think a lot of these people exist as fragments of your imagination, and it goes something like, you can't have what you want because then these invisible strangers are judging you somewhere and they're gonna judge you for wanting that, you know, or for doing some kind of thing. And at that point, you have to really take responsibility for your internal experience, your agency and capacity for choice. This is your life. What do you want? When it comes to balance, remember that balance is a dance, and that in order to really stay and locate our true centers, we have to be able to oscillate. We have to be able to experience different points of balance. And if there are places in your life that feel very familiar and very comfortable, but you are not getting what you want from them, this may be a time to intentionally disrupt the balance in order to bring evolution, liberation, and new experiences of satisfaction into your life. I hope any or all of that feels helpful and interesting for you, Virgo. I'm wishing you all the best in Libra season and beyond. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please show your support. The easiest way to do that is to click the like, follow, and subscribe buttons below. Leave us great reviews on the streaming platforms you're tuning in with, and share our channels and offerings with your friends and networks. Your one-time and recurring donations sustain the production of this work. Click the link in the show notes to sign up for a monthly donation or leave us a tip. Thank you for your support.